Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Today, we're going to explore the hearts that Luffy has won over with his charisma, courage, and rubbery smile. Monkey D. Luffy, the future king of the pirates, isn't just a master of stretchy punches and supreme haki. He also has a natural talent for winning hearts. Whether through his determination, loyalty, or clumsy charm, Luffy makes people, and even animals, fall for him, whether in a romantic, platonic, or purely admiring way. Based on the manga up to chapter 1159, September 2025, and analyses from reliable sources, here's a complete list of the times Luffy, unintentionally or not, made someone fall for him, with each case detailed and its narrative impact in the world of One Piece. The biggest and most obvious love interest for Luffy is Boa Hancock, the Pirate Empress, and Shichibukai, who rules Amazon Lily. In chapter 516, Luffy lands on the island of women after being sent flying by Kuma from Sabaudi. At first, Hancock plans to turn him to stone with her Mero Mero no Mi, but her heart melts when Luffy shows his altruistic side. In chapter 517, he protects Hancock's sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, by hiding their slave marks from the celestial dragons, an act that shocks the Kuja, since men are forbidden on the island. Hancock, who despises men due to her traumatic past, chapter 519, becomes intrigued by Luffy's purity. In chapter 522, Hancock falls completely in love when she sees Luffy punch a celestial dragon at Sabaudi, flashback from chapter 503, defying the world government to save Kami. That act of courage, combined with his refusal to betray his friends, makes Hancock develop the disease of love. She confesses her feelings in chapter 523, offering to help Luffy break into Impel Down to save Ace. Luffy, being Luffy, ignores the romantic advances but accepts her help, leaving Hancock even more smitten. Up through chapter 1159, Hancock remains madly in love with Luffy, as seen in her determination to protect him during the Egghead arc, chapter 1059, where she faces the Marines to save her future husband. It's funny to imagine Hancock dreaming of marriage while Luffy only thinks about meat. Nami, the navigator of the Straw Hats, has never declared romantic love for Luffy, but their bond has moments that suggest something deeper. In the Arlong Park arc, chapter 81, Luffy destroys the map Nami had spent years creating for Arlong, showing that he sees her as part of the crew, not just a tool. When Nami, desperate, begs Luffy for help, chapter 81, he places his straw hat on her head, promising to defeat Arlong. This gesture, one of the most iconic in the series, makes Nami cry in gratitude and trust, marking the start of her unwavering loyalty. In chapter 94, after Luffy defeats Arlong, Nami runs to hug him with a smile that mixes relief, gratitude, and something more. Fans speculate this moment plants a seed of admiration beyond friendship. Throughout the series, Nami trusts Luffy blindly, as in Punk Hazard, chapter 675, when she lets him lead against Caesar, and in Wano, chapter 1053, when she celebrates his victory over Kaido. In chapter 1154 in Elbaf, Nami stands by Luffy as he faces Loki, showing an emotional connection that for some suggests unspoken love. Shiraoshi, the mermaid princess of Fishman Island, is another clear case of infatuation with Luffy. In chapter 627, Luffy barges into Ryugu Palace, eats all the food, and calls Shiraoshi weak for not facing her fears. Despite the harsh words, he encourages her to leave the Hardshell Tower, something she hadn't done in years due to her fear of Vanderdecken. In chapter 645, Luffy protects her from Decken and Hody Jones, facing an army of new Fishman pirates. Shiraoshi, shy and tearful, begins to admire Luffy, especially when he promises to take her to see the real world. Chapter 600. In chapter 653, Shiraoshi confesses she wants to see Luffy again, with a sparkle in her eyes that suggests a schoolgirl crush. Her admiration is so strong that she calls him Luffy-sama and dreams of exploring the surface with him. Up to chapter 1159, Shiraoshi hasn't reappeared directly, but Fishman Island remains loyal to Luffy, as seen in chapter 1053 when it's declared Straw Hat territory. It's funny to imagine Shiraoshi writing love letters while Luffy only thinks about giant fish. Rebecca, the princess of Dressrosa, develops a strong admiration for Luffy during the Dressrosa arc. In chapter 721, she meets Luffy, disguised as Lucy, in the Kurita Coliseum, where he capots for the Mera Mera no Mi. Luffy saves her from gladiators and inspires her with his determination to defeat Doflamingo. In chapter 784, when Luffy faces Doflamingo, Rebecca watches in awe as he uses Gear 4th to protect Dressrosa. After his victory, chapter 791, Rebecca thanks Luffy with tears in her eyes, calling him a hero and showing an attachment that goes beyond gratitude. Although Rebecca never confesses romantic love, her admiration for Luffy is intense, with moments of blushing and emotional glances. Chapter 797. Fans ship the two because of their chemistry, especially when Luffy promises to protect her as he did with Nami. In chapter 1053, Dressrosa remains allied with Luffy, suggesting Rebecca still holds affection for him. Vivi, the princess of Alabasta, is another case of of deep admiration that borders on love. In the Alabasta arc, Vivi joins the Straw Hats to save her kingdom from Crocodile. In chapter 164, Luffy confronts her for hesitating to sacrifice lives, but soon promises to protect her and defeat Crocodile. In chapter 213, when Luffy defeats Crocodile, Vivi cries with relief, hugging him in her heart since she's busy with the crowd. Her farewell in chapter 216, when the Straw Hats show the X on their arms to say goodbye, is one of the most emotional moments in the series, with Vivi clearly attached to Luffy. In chapter 1072, Vivi reappears fleeing the world government with Wapol, and her loyalty to the Straw Hats remains. Fans speculate that her bond with Luffy, especially after he risked everything for Alabasta, has a romantic tinge, though mostly platonic. It's funny to imagine Vivi daydreaming about Luffy while handling royal treaties. Margarite, a Kuja warrior, is one of the first to encounter Luffy in Amazon Lily, chapter 514. She protects him from Hancock's wrath, risking her life by hiding him. In chapter 516, Margarite becomes fascinated by Luffy's courage, especially when he faces the Gorgon sisters without fear. Her fondness grows in chapter 521, when Luffy saves her from Hancock's petrification, showing gratitude for her help. While not a romantic love like Hancock's, Margarite develops an admiration that makes her blush and smile whenever she talks about Luffy. Alvida, the first villain Luffy ever faces, develops an unexpected crush on him. In chapter 2, Luffy defeats her with a punch, calling her fat. After eating the Sube Nomi, chapter 98, Alvida returns in Logtown, now beautiful and obsessed with Luffy. She chases after him, declaring that he will be her man, chapter 100, but Luffy, true to his nature, completely ignores her. Up through chapter 1159, Alvida hasn't reappeared, but her initial crush is a milestone in Luffy's chaotic charm. Otama, the little girl from Wano, develops an intense admiration for Luffy. In chapter 911, Luffy saves her from Kaido's henchmen, giving her food and promising to free Wano. Tama sees him as a hero, calling him Nii-chan, big brother, and dreaming of joining the Straw Hats, chapter 915. In chapter 1051, after Luffy defeats Kaido, Tama cries with happiness, hugging him in gratitude. Her admiration is childlike, but so strong that she idolizes him as a savior. Momonosuke, the young shogun of Wano, and Yamato Kaido's son, develop deep admiration for Luffy. In chapter 975, Yamato is inspired by Luffy after reading Oden's journal, deciding to fight for Wano. In chapter 1051, Yamato declares that Luffy is the man Oden was waiting for, showing a respect that borders on worship. Momonosuke, in chapter 1053, sees Luffy as the hero who freed Wano, crying as he thanks him. Though not romantic, their attachment is intense, with Yamato even considering joining the Straw Hats, chapter 1057. Throughout his journey, Luffy not only gains allies and friends, he wins hearts in a unique and unassuming way, always without realizing how much his simple existence and selfless actions can touch the lives of those around him. His charisma isn't just a wide smile and overwhelming strength, but an unbreakable spirit that inspires trust, loyalty, and even love. Whether through Nami's deep friendship, Hancock's unconditional love, or the genuine admiration of figures like Shiraoshi and Yamato, Luffy builds a legacy that goes far beyond his title as King of the Pirates. What makes Luffy truly unique isn't his ability to attract feelings, but the fact that he never seeks them. His mission was never to win hearts. His mission has always been simply to be himself, and that's exactly what makes him even more admirable and worthy of so many feelings. His true authenticity and his ability to make others around him feel that with him, they can be truly free. As we follow his journey, it becomes clear that Luffy is not only a hero on the seas of One Piece, but also in the heart of every character who crosses his path, leaving an eternal mark. In a world where passions can be fleeting, Luffy teaches us that the truest kind of conquest is the one that requires no effort, but simply the act of living with courage, friendship, and a rubbery smile. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.